Assalamu alaikum, guys. My name is Mohammed Muzammil. Out of pure interest, I just thought of recording this so that I can help my fellow peers and everyone to understand the great subject of economics. Okay. So, first of all, I will someday discuss the paper pattern, but for now, let's discuss the scene. First of all, you need to understand this is the basis of economics, the definition of economics. Okay, this forms the basis of your economics. Now, see, we human beings can never be satisfied. Okay, we human beings can never be satisfied. No matter what we get, we can never be satisfied. We will yearn, means we will want more. So we have infinite wants. Like there's a hadith that if person, I guess, gets a mountain of gold, then he will want to have more. Like I'm not telling you the exact, but even I'm not sure properly. Like just giving an example. That hadith means that we have infinite wishes, infinite wants. Okay, we have infinite wants, but we have extremely limited resources. So resources are limited while wants are infinite, unlimited. So economics की जो definition है, the definition of economics which we learn, I guess it's from Robbins, is that we have and like not leave the Robbins, just like understand this we have a lot of wishes, a lot of wants, and we need to manage between them because we cannot get everything. Okay, we need to manage. We need to either take one and miss another. Okay, so there because there's a scarcity. The term scarce in English language you can see in the dictionary to scarce means something which is less. Okay, which is not abundant. Abundant means बहुत ज़्यादा, some a lot of. Okay, so I'm speaking a bit bilingual. Sorry for it. Like scarce means something very less. Abundant means something like present in huge quantities. So our resources are scarce. Okay, our economic resources are scarce. For example, let's just take an example of clean air. It's scarce in the present day. I will give you further examples. Okay, so consumers have to decide what to buy, what not to buy. Like if you, for example, if you are earning 3,000, now you cannot buy something of 5,000. So you have to decide what to buy. And workers considering the inflation, need to take a job of a firm, even if sometimes we don't like a firm, but we can have better opportunities from it. So this is what it is and what to do. And governments even need this economics thing, and they too rely on the concept of scarcity. Okay, and everything like what to spend your tax revenue on, because our sources are not infinite. We have to spend our taxes revenues on something particular. So if we have one option, okay, so there's an opportunity, okay, there's an opportunity. See, foregone means something that is missed, okay, something that is left. Now see, if you have something like you have two options. Either, for example, you are a student, you take a class, okay, you take a class. Now in the class, you have two options, okay, like you have two options for this. Either you can like sit comfortably in the class talking to your friends or everything, or you can study focused. Now these are the two alternatives. Both offer something, like the way that chilling offers like a temporary form of comfort. Like it offers something where you want to be like in a state where you feel like a sort of a happy, where you feel sort of happy, like there's a dopamine release within you. But if you study, you can reap the benefits in future. You can get a lot of benefits in future. Okay, so opportunity cost. Another example, like if a country, let's take it on the macro level. Okay, on macro level, if a country chooses to spend more on its defense budget, the best alternative for gone is your education. Okay, there are two things. Considering the resources are scarce, you have to choose from these. You have to choose one thing. Okay. So now there are all of the economics relies on allocation of resources. You need to allocate resources. Allocation basically means that see, like allocate. If you want to, like, if I have three places, A, B, and C, and I have 1,000 units of something. So if, for example, I put 200 units here, I put 300 units here, and 500 units here. So basically, I'm allocating my resources. So this is what is known as allocation. If you need to allocate resources, so what happens is you need to form an economic system. So an economic system is a way of allocating resources. Okay, is a way of allocating your resources. You need to allocate your resources. So first of all, there are three main questions surrounding it, like what you need to produce as a resource. Okay, what you need to produce. Either you need to produce wheat or you need to produce weapons. How to produce, in what ways, either small scale industries in your cottage industries, or you can form big, huge industries. So there are two models where it's the cottage industry where women are working. So there is how to produce, what to produce, and for whom. Like for whom do you want to produce? Like for example, there's an division of sea. There are economic systems which the first of all, which try to allocate the resources properly, and they answer the questions like how to, what to produce. Like in our Pakistan, our economic system, okay, in our economic system needs to know, they already know, I don't know if they know, but they know what to produce, how to produce it, and for whom they want to produce it. Okay. Now, so let's take an example of nuclear power. Nuclear power, if the Pakistan, nuclear power. Let's take a more simpler example. Crops, agriculture, agricultural good, crops now. If they want, there are three fundamentals to produce: what to produce, how to produce, and to for whom. Okay. So if you produce, for example, crops, now you want it for market to sell it so that your country earns, so that the people in the country earn. Okay. And another thing is that what to produce, what to produce. So you answered it, how to produce. You can create different sort of fertilizer industries and everything. So how to produce, and for whom do you want to produce? Like in Pakistan, they want to produce it for the government, elites. For for some countries, they want to produce it for the industries, firms. And for some countries, they wanted to produce it for the general public, okay? And it could be for even poor. It can even be for even be poor. For poor. So an economic system is a way of allocating resources to answer the fundamentals. So this system answers like what to produce, how to produce, and everything. Okay. So now see. First of all, there's a market economy, capitalist economy. Okay, so in a market, what happens is basically there is an interaction between and your consumer and buyer and seller. Okay, buyer and seller, more like, in which resources are allocated by the means of price mechanism. I'm trying to explain you price mechanism in the easiest way possible. Okay, price mechanism of what sort? Like basically what you did was that you tried to balance it with, like, Adam Smith gave you two examples of two scissors of demand and supply. So when, like, take example of roses, for example, roses, okay, the if the supply of roses keep on increasing, their demand will keep on decreasing. Okay, so this is what is known as price mechanism, where you balance the price with the help of demand and supply, and you reach an equilibrium price, which this is the equilibrium price which satisfies all. So consumers indicate what they are willing and able to buy. Okay, so consumers indicate, like consumers already tell you like what they want to buy and what they are able to buy through the prices they pay. Okay, through the prices, like if something is expensive, I am not willing to. Okay, just giving you an example. And if I'm able to buy, okay. So private sector firms responds to change in private consumers. So it is mostly relying on private sector. Okay. Market economy has less, very much less of government interference. Okay. And this was mostly derived from, first of all, like let's give you a brief history. After people were more like fed up of the feudalism system, Calvinism. First of all, Calvin came up with the ideas, okay, and he laid the foundation of interest system too. After Calvin, there came the system of capitalism, okay. In the capitalism and in the French Revolution, there was a concept of I cannot pronounce it. This is something like it. This this concept where like they wanted complete freedom from the government interference in the economy. Okay, so this was known as the pure capitalist system. Okay, this market economy could be called as a capitalist economy too. Okay, so property is completely private owned and government's role is minimal. Among the advantages are that the consumer sovereignty. Like if government does not like say okay, produce that. So according to the consumer taste, basically private sector tries to produce these things. So when the private sector tries to produce these things, so consumer has a pure choice. Okay, and it gives incentives for workers and firms to be efficient and innovative. Okay, considering the fact like they have freedom. The government doesn't say produce this, so they are innovative. And there's a competition. Okay, there's a sort of a competition, so everyone tries to be more efficient and innovative to produce more and more better goods. And see, bureaucracy is a problem somehow. So when there's a bureaucratic interference, bureaucratic muddle, okay, in the bureaucratic muddle, what happens as a result is that your country does not function properly. Okay, bureaucracy interferes a lot. So they try to like hinder the formation of firms. They try to affect the business. They can even ask for bribery. Okay, there are different things associated. But there are disadvantages. Like see, inequitable distribution of income, a risk of unemployment, of resources, underconsumption of merit goods, overconsumption of demerit goods. Okay, see, lack of provision of public goods, information failure, and abuse of market power. See, some firm can grow to be extremely powerful, so he can abuse his market power. Okay, and another thing is that abuse of market power could be said in a more easier. See, that thing was like, for example, see, there's a concept of predatory pricing. Okay, there is a concept of predatory pricing. Predator. What do predators mean in science? Predators mean who like try to hunt other animals. Okay, so basically, what happens is that predatory pricing is a concept as an illegal business. Okay, but what happens there is that there is a strategy where you undercut. Okay, where you large scale. What happens is like you affect the prices on a large scale. So you set them so low because some businesses are like already furnishing. They can afford to sustain it, so they lower the prices so low that basically they cannot do anything regarding it. Okay, other firms who have formed very recently who cannot efficiently use the resources. So this is what is known as market power, abuse of market power. Okay, predatory pricing. Okay, so this is like refusal to deal or whatever. So this is market power. Demerit goods, which cause an overall damage to our society. Merit goods, which overall cause benefits to our society. Unemployment, basically a risk of unemployment of resources, like you cannot use properly resources properly, they are underused. Okay, unemployment of resources, even labor is a resource, there could be unemployment of them. Okay, if their supply increases to a large amount. Okay, and inequitable distribution of wealth, this is a bit complicated concept. Like see, in the capitalist system, basically government does not regulate it. They don't tax anyone. So when they doesn't regulate, as a result, some firms grow on to be extremely powerful. Okay, because they are under tax and the government does not interfere, so they can even try to abuse their market power. So some grow way too powerful, and they basically can control all the resources. Like if a oil company has a monopoly, this is monopoly, so basically the CEOs, not CEOs, like the founders of that company, shareholders of the company, major shareholders can grow way too powerful. Okay, so there could be an inequitable distribution of wealth. How? See, let's make it more easier. If there is a company A and if there is a company B, if company A starts is unregulated, okay, it formed in the start. Like for example, let's take a practical example. Bill Gates formed a mark. of Microsoft, okay, Microsoft. He had like, I'm just giving you an example. He has access to all the computers, okay? He has access to the all the computers. Now, since he has access to all the computers, he can use it to his advantage. Like he can lower its supply, okay, to increase its demand. So its prices increase. Okay, so Bill Gates has control over it. So now this A, which is unregulated, unaffected, he can use resources. He has almost complete resource control over resources. So he's unhindered. Okay, he's completely unstoppable. So basically, he can affect prices to his advantages. He has control over everything. He is untaxed. Like when you are not taxed, like you can exponentially increase your wealth. He keeps on increasing wealth. And other firms, basically, they cannot compete with him. Okay, there is an I will talk to on this in more detail. Okay, this is income gap. Like some people grow poorer, and other grow extremely powerful. Planned economies are in which government takes most of the decisions. Like government says that you take this, you take this. Like the property is largely state owned. Like see, even in a capitalist, unlike the capitalist system, in a socialist, more like extreme communist system, you can you can take basic necessities with you, like, for example, if you basic necessities with you, or for example, if you in your lawn grew a small amount of vegetables or fruits, you can keep it. But if you have a big farm and everything government controls, you cannot have your own private property. Workers are employed in state-owned enterprises. Okay, workers are owned in state-owned enterprises. Okay, state owns everything. Okay, so what does the term enterprise means? Enterprise means like an organization where there is some sort of economic work taking place, a business project. Okay, so enterprise is and it is derived from a French word, old French word, where it means that to undertake something. Okay, to undertake something. State private sector's role in the economy is minimal. Okay, there is no proper private sector. Advantages of planned economy hold, like you can fully employ resources. Like in capitalist economy, they try to hide resources. Okay, they try to hide resources, and this may be the case that some of the resources, like they don't have the potential as much as government to check the resources. Okay, to see discover the resources. So there's a full employment of resources in there. Okay, so government fully employs the resources, all the resources. Okay, now basically another thing is that let's read it. Avoidance of wasteful duplication, like government already specify because there is no competition proper. So basically, government already understands the society properly. So what happens is that it already divides. Okay, it makes the industries accordingly. Okay, it makes the industries accordingly. So there is no wasteful duplication. Equitable distribution of resources, like for example, in a proper communist society, you have equitable distribution. Like for example, many people get even pays. Okay, there is no difference of much pay. Okay, in consideration of externality. See, government cares. Like demerit goods are like gutkas and everything. Government cares. Okay. So they try to discourage like cigarettes. They try to in long-term planning and support for vulnerable goods. Okay. Long-term planning and support. Like see, mostly people, an individual act in self-interest. Okay. An individual act in self-interests. Okay. Every individual acts in self-interest. So they can make they can make demerit goods. Now, what are vulnerable goods? Okay. Vulnerable equipment is, for example, try to understand. Okay. Vulnerable goods are goods like, see, let's try to understand it. They need some sort of protection. Okay. They need some sort of, they are fragile. They are some way fragile. Okay. In some way, they are fragile. So now you need to take good care of them. So government tries to provide support for them. Okay. Government tries to provide support for them. They are vulnerable in some way. Mixed economy, what happens is like you try to balance. Okay, you try to balance between a private sector and a public sector. Okay, you try to balance between a public sector and a private sector. Okay, in but oh sorry, I forgot to cover the disadvantages. First disadvantages is that consumer demands don't matter much. Okay, because government basically doesn't rely. First of all, government does not have a competitor now. Okay, no one had, there's no competitor concept. Okay, so they will keep on producing, and they are quite lethargic to it. Okay, they keep on producing as per, and they're slow to respond to the changes. Okay, in consumer demand. Like if consumer wants this, they don't care. Like there's only government, no particular industries. Consumer has to forcefully buy it because he has no alternate. Too much bureaucracy. Again, bureaucracy. They can see government is not an angel. Okay, they can interfere within the setups. Okay, they can interfere in the setups, and they can. There could be nepotism. Okay, where they hire the people of their own choice. There you can even there can be people hired who don't have proper experience in this system. Lack of incentives, okay, and too much concentration on capital goods. You are concentrated too much on the capital goods because they capital goods, okay, too much capital goods are sort of goods. See, capital goods are can like see they more like are fixed assets, okay. They cannot be quickly converted capital assets or everything, okay. They can like let's try to explain it. Okay, something which is used to produce another good. Okay, like consumer goods which we directly consume. So capital goods are used to produce consumer goods. Okay, so they concentrate too much on capital goods within the planned economy. Okay, less on consumer goods. Okay, consumer less on consumer. Okay, so this is the fact that if it concentrates, there's a need for consumer goods too. Okay, if you concentrate more on capital good. Okay, money is not a capital good. Okay, why? Because practically speaking, जो पैसा money is a source to buy capital goods. Okay, it's not a capital good in its own. So now, if I try to strike a balance between your capitalist and socialist economy, socialist is a planned communist economy. Wait a minute. If I try to strike a balance between price mechanism, where the market factors entirely determine the price, and state planning, a mixed economy is one which seeks to gain the advantages of both market and a planned economy and tries to avoid disadvantages of both. It is mostly followed now. Now see, first of all, in central planning, there are problems which can be reduced. Okay. Now see, inflation, see, when central planning in an economy is booked, see, first of all, there are a lot of issues concerning central planning now, but when there is like lack of government influence, okay, when central planning is reduced, okay, there can be again be a rise in merit goods, demerit goods, sorry. There can be a rise in demerit goods. When there can be a rise in demerit goods, basically there can be issues again. Okay, another problem. See, there can be again a key given to monopoly. Okay, inequitable distribution. Inequitable means in unequal, and there can be an unexceed. There can even be a lack of provision of public goods. Okay, there can be a lack of provision of public goods. See, public goods are which are used by general public. One who acts on his own industry. Okay, one who forms his own industry will act in his self-interest. Why will he want to serve the public? Okay, government has the main motive of serving because they will not be elected again. There can be rebellion, anything. So there can be a lack of public goods. So if central planning is removed, their public good formation could be affected. Another thing is that there could be an unequal distribution of wealth back again, and even resources too. Some there can again be a formation of equal classes who holds most of the resources and everything. Okay, inflation, like see, let's take example of Pakistan. In Pakistan, most of the agricultural land is empty, but why isn't it used? Because most of the elite classes are controlling it, and neither they want to sell it, neither they want to work on it. Okay, they just want profits. Okay, they are not concerned with the public. So see, there could, like, say, if Pakistan's most of the people landlords stop investing on their crops like they are currently doing, what will happen as a result is that there cannot be proper, like, try to understand me, there can be more problems. Okay, there can be more problems with regards to it. Now, inflation can arise when price controls are removed. Okay, inflation, like there, if there is a sort of a price mechanism, what can happen is that price, when price controls are removed, okay, price controls are removed. When price controls are removed, there can be a no control on price. There can be no stoppage of the price. So the inflation, in simple words for now, understand that when the price begins to increase, okay, by a certain percentage. Okay, now see, if I shift promptly to a mixed economy even, there people will not have proper entrepreneurial skills to develop a financial sector, okay? To develop a financial sector, like stock exchange requires a lot of work. Entrepreneurial, risk-taking skills, okay? Including a stock exchange, social welfare network. Okay, the removal of government support and trade restrictions can result in some enterprises going out of business. Like if there is a removal of government support, and if there is trade, if there are trade restrictions can be, like, try to understand. There is a protectionist sort of policy. Okay, there is a protectionist sort of policy. Now see, if government sees the need of banning luxury goods, so government, like, it's a byproduct of trade restriction, is a byproduct of protectionism. Now see, if government thinks of banning one thing, banning one thing, okay, like, let's take an example. Government, let's not take luxury goods for example, it's not better, let's take a better example. If for example, um let's take example. I'm trying to think of a proper example. Like there are some groups, okay. It's not coming in my head now. Mm, it's not coming in my head. Okay. Now, for example, see, try to understand. One trade barrier can be tariff. Okay. It can be a tariff. It can be a tariff. Okay. Now, in the tariff, you can, like, impose a certain amount of tax, okay, on the person. So if he cannot afford it, obviously he will be out of business, okay? He can be out of business, okay? So this is what it is. Hopefully you got what the differences and everything are. See you later, inshallah. Okay? Take care. Allah Hafiz. And do give some, like, a constructive criticism, not destructive. Okay? Allah Hafiz.